Welcome back, Supers, to another Shark Tank Tank Tales interview. Today, I have the entrepreneurs behind Apolla. Was it Apolla Performance Software or
Apollo Performance Wear. Apollo Sock.
where? Okay. Thank you. So before we get started, I need you to give some super claps. Whatever you're doing right now, stop what you're doing. Give some super claps so everyone around you knows that you are listening to the Super Joe Pardo Show. And give some super claps to Super Casey and Super Bree. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
How are we doing
Hello.
today?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
You are both so welcomed. So let's see. We usually start with what was your relationship with Shark Tank before getting to be on Shark Tank?
Yeah, we
Uh,
were fans of the show.
yeah,
Just like so many of you out there, we were big fans of the show. We watched
grew
it
up
with we
watching
watch
it.
it with our kids.
That's great. So so like pretty religiously, or just like whenever it would happen to be on, or
No, I was a real hardcore fan from the beginning. It's always been that aspiring dream of like I want to be on that one day. I didn't know that I was going to create a business when I was watching it, but it definitely, as you get older, uh, it was definitely something that I loved watching. I loved seeing what people created, and then once we started our business, uh, it was on the vision board. I'll say that.
so how did Shark Tank come about? Did you guys apply to be on Shark Tank, or did they find you by chance?
Yeah, we applied. We had, it was one of the number one things that as we had created a startup over and over, people would say to us, like the number one thing when anybody found out what we're doing, like, you should be on Shark Tank. And for the longest time, we didn't think we were a fit for it because we knew we were so niche in the dance industry. And so, we just didn't feel like we were ready for it. We knew that if we were going to take a shot at it, we wanted it to be a big swing. So we had just pivoted, had gone through the pandemic. We can go into that later if you want more details on it, but we had just done a big pivot into the mass market, and still continuing to serve dancers, but really getting out into the general public for anyone with beat. And that's when we're like, okay, we think we're ready now. We think this is the best way for us to enter into that big market and make a splash.
Oh, that's awesome. So it wound up being you. This was like a one and done. You applied and you got right in.
Well, we applied. It's a process, right? And without getting too much
Mhm.
into what that process is and respecting the process, it was a long one. So I think we applied at the end of February, and you don't know much about what's going to happen, and you have to just try every step of the way. We prepared like we were going to be on the show. We didn't have any guarantees. We had to still keep running our business, so it became for us anyway a full-time job on top of the full-time job, and on top of being moms and going about our day-to-day life. It was something that was really important to us to show up, to turn everything in on time. The application process is very extensive. There's many different rounds to it, but every step of the way we prepared like we were going to be on the show. That was kind of our strategy.
We don't do anything halfway. We
No.
are one of those people that we put in 100% with the cherry on top.
Yeah.
And we knew in order, we're not, some exciting fancy gadget or,
We're socks,
yeah, we're not. So we knew that we needed to hit a home run every single chance we could.
Oh, I love it, and I'm pretty sure I said in the reaction video review video. I actually been thinking about changing the name of that from Biz Coach Reacts to Biz Coach Reviews because I feel like Reacts almost has like a negative connotation sometimes. But in that video, I love the fact that you started with the niche,
Yeah. Mhm.
however you want to say it. That's where the riches are, and being able to cement a foundation with that niche and that community built around it makes it like so much easier to say, okay, let's branch out with like something else because we know we have our foundation. They know and love us for this thing, and we know that, and they know that we're not going anywhere. So even if we start to like come up with some other socks that might be better for this other niche or this other use case. It's not the, oh no, it's, we're getting away from it, because you have that strong bond with those, because they're people, right? Where that's
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like
yeah.
it's relationships, and building that relationship is so important.
It's a great point, and I think we're always going to be there's always going to be a spot in our heart for the dance community for that reason. It's where we found out who we were as a company. We established our brand identity, figured out who we are, who we wanted to be. We learned a lot, we grew a lot, but we also were able to establish our product. And it's one thing as an entrepreneur to develop something that you think is good, right? Yeah, I think this is good. I think it's going to be good. And, to establish that and build a brand, that's hard in and of itself. But we really were able, like you said, to lay a foundation and not just think our product was great. We went into the tank. By the time we got to the tank, we knew our product was great without a shadow of a doubt. And that gives you another subset of confidence that I think it's so important when you go into a high pressure situation like that, to be able to have the confidence that, I can stand up here and confidently say, we have a product that is going to change your life. That was a big asset for us, I think.
I definitely, I could not agree more. Having that level of confidence in the product, and knowing that, like, even if um so it's like sometimes we see this in the show a lot, like where it's like they have sales, they might not be the strongest sales, but the product is still really good. They just haven't, sometimes everything doesn't quite click in the way it needs to get in front of the right people at the right time to make it all
Yeah.
like come together. And I think that by picking a specific, like, even though, I mean, it's socks, and like almost everyone can use socks, like, on the
That's
planet,
right.
right? Not, I mean, not everybody, but most people could use socks. But by picking that specific niche, it enabled you to get the things that you needed to get right, so that I mean, if look, if ballet, ballet and dance people are on their feet all the time, right? It's very important to them that their feet be able to perform at the at that level that they expect it to, and to have something that enables them to be able to perform as good or better than they were, and or more comfortable, is it speaks volumes to a lot of other industries that, like, are on their feet all day long, in
Well, and when we
working and
said
stuff.
dancers are the toughest athletes in the world, we weren't
We meant that. Yeah.
exaggerating. Like, these were, and it got us, we were able to really see the full durability because these were being worn as shoes. So,
Mm.
the dancers are beating the crap out of them, and dancers hold on to their, when they get, something that is that teddy bear comfort, that, and it's working on their feet, they don't let them go. They don't wash them. They put them through the ringer. And so we have been able to see, since we started this company, over thousands of dancers of all levels and all ages, professional to amateur, from kids to, my 78-year-old stepdad. We've been able to see what our socks really could do, and really put them to the test in a way that also showed, we were able to get studies done. We were able to show scientific proof of what these actually do in terms of reducing injuries and inflammation. We were able to get certified with the American Podiatric Medical Association and have their seal of acceptance. So it gave us a lot of foundation, really, to feel like we were confident stepping in there saying, no, these socks, they're different, they're better. We really did reinvent, the better mousetrap. We built a better sock.
Look, as I'm not a dancer, but as a runner, I totally understand. From
Yeah.
shoes to socks, to compression shorts. Like, when I find something that works, like, I get really upset, especially shoe companies, because they do this all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I get the model that I like, and then the next year they discontinue that model. They make the new model. They change something about it that's like, wow, that was not a great, like, that's a big change. That's not like, oh,
Yeah.
we did a different color, or we put a little swoosh, like, in the sole of it, or something on the side, like a little, like, imprint or something. No, it's like totally different, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. It's like, when I find something, it's like, I want to buy 5 pairs of them because I don't know when's the next time I'm going to be able to buy it again.
Yeah. And I think we knew, obviously dancers have siblings and friends and they talk. And, we knew very organically that we had this whole other part of the population that we could help with our product, and it was always the intent to slowly dip our toes into that water. And the pandemic, kind of forced us to move a lot more quickly and accelerate that plan a lot faster than I think we would have before COVID hit, which is a blessing in disguise, I think. But Shark Tank really showed us, introduced us, and gave us the platform to meet all of those people, right? And it's something we don't take for granted as entrepreneurs. It's a one in a million shot that not every entrepreneur gets to stand on that platform at such a level to be able to say, look, we can help you, and to get that response. The response that we got has been incredible, and now people are getting to experience what we do, and we're so grateful.
No, that is awesome. I think you meant to say dip your socks, not your
Yeah,
toes
right. You're
into
right. Thank you.
into the water.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
There,
Oh,
hit the bell.
I think I have one of those somewhere. I don't know which one it is. Is it this one? There you go. There's that one.
Yes. We love puns all day.
Yes. So getting back to it's looking like the Shark Tank's moving forward, and you're trying to put your pitch together. How did you come up with your pitch? How did you come up with your valuation? Walk us through some of that there.
There's so many things. I think, Casey was on major watch duty. she made it. I mean, I watched a lot of episodes. She murdered me in terms of the amount of episodes that she watched. And between the two of us, we were able to really, because I think that's a question I get a lot, Case. I don't know if you get this, but it's, do they give you the questions to prepare? And the answer is absolutely not. They're like, basically the advice we got was know your numbers and like be personable, right? So that's what we had to work with. And so we took it upon ourselves. Like I said, it became a full-time job on top of the full-time job of watching the episodes, recording every question that they asked, season 1 through 12, writing it down, making sure that I think we read the Pierce Mars book, 7 questions every entrepreneur needs to know to be prepared for Shark Tank, and listened to podcasts, did research on all the sharks, and really just tried to find out everything that we could that may give us an advantage in there. And then from there, obviously there's 2 of us, and you see sometimes when people go in there with 2 people, it can be successful and it can be not successful. And so we knew that we each have our own lanes in our company, and that had to translate on the show. We knew we didn't want to be talking over each other. And so we had a lot of intent in terms of how we teed each other up with answers, the information we wanted to get out to the sharks that we had to make sure we got out while we were in there, and maintaining control of the conversation for as long as we possibly could, because we knew that if we lost control of the conversation, that it could end very, very differently.
Well, and we also have an incredible network of our friends and family that know their stuff when it comes to business from a wide range of the world. So we also were able to have, firing squads and practice. My husband is literally could sit on the sharks. He's the same type of Mr. Wonderful kind of person.
They put us through our paces for
does
sure.
Not let you stop. Like he was. If we could pitch to him, we could pitch to anyone. So
very critical, put us through our paces, no holds barred. And we practiced like that quite a bit. And we were, obviously we were blessed with we had a wonderful producing team. I can't say enough about how well taken care of we felt going through this process. So, we're very grateful to them as well. But yeah, it was a lot of prep. And of course we used the time that we had, because it was months, to really, clean out all the cobwebs of our business. You know, as a startup, there are a lot of things that maybe can't get your attention, especially when there's two of you that are wearing all the hats, right? And we took it upon ourselves to use that time to really get our processes cleaned up, get our accounting where we wanted it to be, where it was really clean and really clear, so that we were in a strong position if we got the opportunity to pitch.
That I can't. That cannot be overstated or understated. What again? You can't state that enough. Taking the time to clear. I mean, I'm an operations person, so for me, it's all about getting the processes right. It's all about getting things clean and clear, and anybody can come in and look at it because you can have the best of intentions with anybody in any business, the best employees, the best partners. Somebody could get hit by a bus tomorrow, right? And then you got to have somebody else be able to come in and look at it and say, I understand what's going on. Or there's a bunch of side note things here that are like scribble scrabble that I don't, and they knew what it meant, right? But I don't know what it means. And those are the types of things that I think really separates the startup mentality to the we can grow way beyond that. And even then it's a learning experience like at every step of the process. You're always
It is so
like
much.
It
like
was so
you
much.
have how you have your system set up today isn't necessarily how it's going to work when you have
So
two or
true.
three more employees. All of a sudden everything starts, it starts to change, and like what made sense for that one or two people all of a sudden needs to make sense for 10 people, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a ding on that. Coming up to utilize that time to enable your business to be more appetizable,
Well,
edible.
we're also not
To a
people
shark.
that we always are looking for how we can do better. Like we really are constantly looking at how can we become more efficient, how can we improve, where are our weaknesses so we can build them into strengths. We have not since day one rested on our anything. It is we are grinders, we are hustlers, and we just don't take anything for granted.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay, so you're getting to the tank. You're walking down the hallway. How are you feeling? Are you feeling confident, scared, nervous, blacking out? What's
I like telling this story because we are, Casey and I are fundamentally different people, and that's why it works. It's why we're best friends. So different, right? And so she's just got, like, when we're in high pressure situations, Casey goes to this place of like, like she's just, you cannot penetrate the calmness. And I am such a spaz. It's insane. Like, it's like if you were to watch up above and see this chaos going on, she would be with her eyes closed just then, and I'd be pacing, or I was like flipping through note cards before they opened the doors. Like somebody had to take them away from me. Like I almost dragged me down with them. I would not let them go. And at that point, it's all about control, right? Like she's trying to get this piece, this inner peace. And I'm like, let me just see one more number. And at some point, she just grabbed my hand and took me to the place with her, the place of Zen. And we just closed our eyes and felt each other's energy, really felt each other's energy. I know that sounds silly, but we were just really in sync and took a deep breath. And I think just felt we had done everything in that moment that we could to get us to this place. Like we really did go in there as prepared as we possibly can. We had immense faith and trust in each other, which I think is so clutch in a situation like this, as a company period, but especially in this situation. And when those doors open, we were able to step forward and just go, all right, this is it. Let's go do this. And we did.
It
I
helps
love it.
that I really, I don't know how it feels for anyone else. Everybody is unique as they stand there, but there's a feeling as a dancer when you go on stage and you're competing, because we're both competitive, dancers. Like when you get in that zone, it's muscle memory, and you're just like, you're present, and you project, and you know what you're doing, and you just go in a zone. And even though, like, for me, I'm a yogi. I like to focus, center, on my insides. I am just as anxious and nervous, but I'm focusing, on how to control that and breathing. but it really was one of those things where we're both, you know, every performer also has their own process before going on stage. So we both that are in that place, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, showtime, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know,
Yeah,
and
let's
you
go.
know, like we just drop in, you know, and it really is a feeling of that moment afterwards was just out of body, where you felt like you just finished a nationals routine, you know, and you came off stage and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, so
It,
it just was a out of body experience.
yeah. And you know, it was a huge benefit. I think we're used to that feeling, like she said, of standing up there and projecting and being able to look at somebody in the face when you're standing that close to them in this pressure situation. It definitely worked to our benefit to have that kind of stage experience, that performance experience. Not that we were performing, but that just to have that ability to stand in that situation and not completely fall apart.
Well, I would argue you were performing. I mean, you're performing at a very high level at that point because you have multiple people, 5 people, all yelling at you from different different
It was like
sides of the.
hurting
Yes,
kindergartners.
it
I am
was.
not
It was
kidding.
like,
And it was just babada, babada, babada.
yeah.
You're over here, over here. No, I'm going to finish that with you. I mean, it is not as calm as they make it look like.
No, it's not. And you feel so like you don't want to, like, you want to answer everybody's question, but at some point, like I said, it's so important that you get the information out that you want. And so, you know, they showed some of it, but they didn't, thank God they didn't show all of it. But there were times that Casey and I just kept like talking louder and like over them, because we're like, we're not done. Oh no, we're not done.
You know, Lori's up and walking around, you know, Mark's up and down, like Robert's running across, like it was something else.
It's like, we're getting it out. Come hell or high water, this is coming out. You will hear us, and that's it. You know, so but it's a lot of fun. It's a once in a lifetime for sure. You know, it's pretty crazy.
I can imagine. I mean, watching Robert dance like that was
So fun, right? When
Absolutely.
they got up, when he got up, I think you hear like I was like giddily laughing on camera because I could not. We had no idea if they were going to put them on. You know, that's another question we get a lot: is did they know anything about you? Did they have your product beforehand? No, nothing. Like in fact, they told us before we went out. Casey was like bound, damned, and determined that they were going to put the socks on. And she did such an amazing job with that whole intro. I don't know that I could have done it truly, because she was so controlled and calm and collected, and getting them to just move on to what she needed them to do. Like, it was just like, this is happening. It's not even a question. Like, let's go. But to see them stand up and jump around and dance the way that they did, to see Lori actually put them on in her heels, it's so out of body. I was so full of joy and gratitude, because I'm like, this is we get the shot. We're getting the
Yep.
shot right now. And that's, as an entrepreneur, that is all you can ask for, is just to have the shot.
I mean, they're very well aware that they're making TV as well. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they know that it's important to, you know, if you're like, nah, I ain't putting that, I ain't doing that, I ain't doing like. It's
Yeah.
not like they can be that way, but it doesn't make for great TV. So
Right.
they won't
Right.
be doing it for very long
Right.
if they act like that. You know, so but from your perspective, it just makes so much sense because even if somebody say didn't invest in the company, you
Yeah.
have that, like you said, you have the shot. You have, I mean, I know you were talking about the like the metaphysical shot or the illusion, or
Yeah.
not the illusion, the a literary version of shot, like your chance, right? But you
Yeah.
also literally have the shot of them
Yeah, like
wearing
the camera.
your socks.
Yes.
Yes, the
Absolutely.
physical, the
Absolutely.
evidence. And if you're like, hey, I love the socks, but like, I'm not going to spend 300,000 on socks. Sorry,
Right.
you know. It's still, I love the socks. Boom. There's your quote, right? Got it,
Absolutely.
stamped. So, you know, so did going into it, did you have a shark in mind or a couple of sharks in mind that you wanted to work with?
Oh yeah,
Sure did.
we're an all female owned company, and we really wanted to stay that way. Not to say that we were going to turn down because we wanted a shark. We wanted a deal. But I mean, we went in manifesting Lori. And then it was, we want Lori, but it's Lori. And maybe Emma partners with her. That'd be great. But we want Lori. We knew going in that just felt like it made sense.
Mm.
Yeah,
That, yeah. Oh,
we
good.
felt that pretty strongly, walking in there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, I mean, obviously, like you said, you're not going to want to turn down a deal like, yeah, you're not the right gender, sorry. Like, but if the the opportunity's there,
Yeah.
it makes sense that you would want to pursue that. So I mean, that is awesome that it worked out with Lori, and I can't imagine the overjoyedness that being able to envision something, being able to plot and plan for that to work out, and then for it to actually happen.
It's
The
a lot of
feelings you must have.
manifesting. I'm still learning, but it's a lot of manifesting. Casey tells me it's very important, so that's what we do. We manifest.
Mindset is the biggest hurdle as an entrepreneur. It really is. And the amount that you doubt yourself, the amount that you question, am I capable? Am I able to do this? And if you don't put a regular practice to your mental health, and it can crush you. It really can, because it is such a roller coaster to own your own business, operate and survive, and then to go through this process where it was, I mean, I say I had PTSD. It was such an intense experience of just going through it. You can't tell anybody that you're preparing for this. So your time is just completely zapped, and you look like a crazy parent dropping your kid off late to everything. Like nobody could understand what we were doing, why things were so chaotic for a year before we could finally say, this is why I really sucked as a friend and a daughter and as a parent. Like, this is what was happening. So, it was the whole process of being an entrepreneur tests your mental health like nothing else.
It really does. It is very much a mental game, and because you're gonna have those days that are really awesome and super high highs, and then really low lows where things really don't go right. You have a shipment of product come in and it's all destroyed or damaged to the point where you can't sell it, or the quality assurance isn't there, or quality control isn't there. So I mean, there's so many things where it's like, oh, I got this deal and it's going to go through, it's going to work, with this retailer or that, and then things don't happen, or you have somebody call you up and be like, hey, I need to buy 10,000 pairs of socks.
Yeah, and I think
and you go through the process, and then it falls apart for whatever the reason.
Yeah. And it's really important for entrepreneurs out there to know that they have to stay nimble, they have to stay flexible, they have to be willing to pivot and really look at the opportunities as they present themselves on a case by case basis. But this show, it's just so important to recognize this was the quintessential luck equals timing meets preparation meets opportunity. And if this would have happened even a year before, I don't know that it would have turned out the same way.
You have to trust everything's on time.
Yeah, this was in its own time and the right time. And we were at the right place in our business for this to happen right now.
I mean, I'm very much of the everything happens for a reason camp, and it works out the way it's supposed to and when it's supposed to, and to the best of its ability, for better or worse, and hopefully for later you'll figure out why it was better,
That's
but
right.
you got to be willing to look, you got to be able to put it under the microscope and say, okay, well, if that happened, maybe my dream turned into a nightmare, because this would have happened, this could have happened, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm stuck doing a thing. Like, I'm here you go, dropping a clue. I have a Shark Tank entrepreneur I'm interviewing probably in another next 2 weeks that the dream turned into a nightmare. And if you know Shark Tank well enough, you might be able to guess who I'm talking about. But so get subscribed for that. But it's it's really I'm glad that you're speaking to that though. The amount of mental preparation and the mental restraint and the emotion for the and the emotions that you have to be able to uh kind of wrangle in to be able to deal with the day-to-day craziness on top of being, going towards Shark Tank, not being able to tell people, doing
When you're on
preparation
national
work.
TV.
Yeah,
Yeah, that,
that
yeah,
was
it's
the
like,
whole other thing. It was like, and then after we went and filmed, we walked out with the deal, right? And we're like, great for 2 seconds, and then we're like, oh God, we just cried our faces off on TV, and we danced down a hallway, and like, we're gonna look crazy, and what are they gonna
Because
show?
we
And so
are. That is who
this
we are.
this
Like,
slightly
it's just this
nuts.
white
And so
comes
for the
out.
next, that was in September, and we didn't get the call that we were airing until like mid-March. And all that time we're just agonizing over, are we, aren't we, are we going to air, are we not going to air? Because people don't realize just because you get a deal doesn't mean you're going to air. And really that's where things, you get that exposure to that audience, right? So we just had to bide our time and keep things moving, which is so anxiety filled when you're in this position of just right on the cusp all the time, and then, but it's one of the great things about having a partner to go through this with. It can be very isolating being an entrepreneur, and outside of our immediate families, our husbands, and we have little kids that are the same age. Nobody really understands this journey that we're on, this crazy journey that we've chosen to step into. And just because we chose it, it's still really, really hard. And so to have this person who happens to be my soul sister, my best friend, to go through all of this with is just the biggest blessing. Because you hear a lot of nightmare stories about partnerships and family businesses, and when you go into business with friends, yes, it has its challenges. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat that at all, but there's nobody that I would rather be doing this with, and I don't know how I could have made it through all of this without her.
Exactly.
No, I love that. I at one time had the fortunate ability to work with one of my best friends, and it wasn't as magical as I wanted it to be. But and we're still like brothers to this day.
Yeah,
I've known him since I was like 6 years old. So but it can go both ways, right? Like it's I think one of the reasons it wasn't the best times is because we actually had to share an office at the time, so we were within like the same like
yeah,
15 by 12
it makes
room
a little
together
bit of
like
a
most of the
difference.
day. Yeah, it wasn't as magical as it could have been, but it's all good. I appreciate the experience and all that.
Yeah,
And so it is it can be a great experience. It can be the worst of experiences. And I think at the end of the day, I think it helps. It's kind of like what they say like about alcohol, where it just makes you more of the person you really are, or
yeah,
money for that. Say, mention like, it's going to bring out the best and the worst of you, and like either it's going to be cooler, between the two of you, or it's going to be really heated and make it maybe not so much a
yeah,
fun experience to still be friends.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
well,
we lucked out though. I always like to tell the story of knowing. So if you know Bree and I's husbands, our friendship and partnership makes sense. So I was actually best friends with Bree's husband before they started dating. I'd grown up dancing with him at a dance camp in Idaho my whole life. And so he and I were actually really good friends. And as soon as he started dating her, he brought her to meet the family, for the COPE approval. And I knew right away. I was like, she's the one for him. So now she has to be my best friend too. So we became best friends. But what's funny is that her husband and I are very similar animals. And my husband and Bree are very similar animals. So it doesn't surprise me that what we looked for in our life partners is also what we needed in our business, in each other, in the support, in the way we react and interact, in being able to have somebody who can handle me and I know how to react to her. Like
Yeah.
it really makes a really big difference in how we work. I really believe that. On top of there is no quit in Bree. There is like no stopping. And to have somebody who can match work ethic with you is everything.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it builds resentment. And it can, I think that would have probably been what crumbled us faster. It would have destroyed, because you just can't have somebody that also doesn't put in that full sacrifice and effort in that 100% with everything they've got. So there was several factors of how our partnership works that
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody would be as lucky
No.
to find. And I know it's not a fairy tale. We fight like sisters do. But it does, there's a lot of uniqueness to our partnership. Again, that Apolla was formed out of fate, and I have felt fate pushing us every step of the way. There is really, truly a feeling of we are meant to be doing this. We have a higher purpose to be doing this, and it is to help people. And there is so much about it, the coming together of this and our story, that I could tell you over and over of, we come up against a wall, we get rope to climb over it, a door opens up to get through it. I mean, even just this last week, we had another one of those wonderful, interventions of the universe coming in to help us continue to grow, because we are meant to do this.
Or we just kick a hole in the damn wall if it won't open. So it's one of those things happen. Usually that would be me. I get impatient and just kick the hole down through the wall.
No, that is so wonderful and beautiful and so insightful, Casey. To realize, I think a lot of people don't. I really believe a lot of people don't spend enough time looking into like why things are the way they are for not just like the physical things around them, but like the relationships and that kind of stuff. I know for me, I was talking. Forget, I was talking to somebody, and it dawned on me. I'm like, all of my closest friends are all the oldest siblings in their
Isn't
family.
that funny?
And I am too, right? So like I'm the oldest sibling, and and they all have younger siblings that all similar somehow magically have the same thing. I don't want to say problems, things going on, challenges that they're all dealing with similar challenges with younger siblings and things of that nature. It's just like when you start to look at that things, it's like, how did all that like play out? It kind of reminds me of like a little bit of like the Truman Show, and like how like life has a way of like, even though there probably isn't somebody watching like the reality TV show aspect of it, but the like everything's happening and it's all kind of happening for a reason that, whether I mean God, universe, whatever, it's all like kind of playing out in a way that if you really sit down and like look at it, it's like, wow, like when you start to think about like, if I didn't meet this person, then I wouldn't have met that person, that I wouldn't have had that experience, that led to that experience, led to that experience, that led me here.
Yeah.
And it's just like this whole wave of things that choose your own adventure style aspect of life, that probably it's all in a book anyway. At that point it's literally a book playing out. So that's beautiful, Casey. Thank you
Thanks.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I hope more people can realize, like, get something out of this, because this isn't just business is so much more than just like the numbers and all that.
Absolutely, it is. And putting your head down and never stopping, paying attention, being open to things as they happen. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned. My personality is once I make a decision and I set my eyes on something, I plow and I go until I get there, and then it's on to the next thing. But what I've learned through all of this is you have to stop along the way and realize that path might change a little bit, and that has to be okay. And that's been the biggest lesson being an entrepreneur, is you have to stop and change with the path. The path is going to veer right, and you have to go with it. And it's not always easy to do that. but then also examining all these other, subsectors, like your relationships, your business partner who you choose to do business with, and all of it matters. So yeah, it all works together in this crazy little web.
So has your deal closed with Lori yet? Or are you still in
We're still in diligence. It is
diligence? Okay.
just like the application process. It is a very long process. So we are, in the meantime, we are again doing what we do when we put our heads down, and we're going. We're gonna plow through, and the response to the show has been incredible, just absolutely beyond anything that we could have predicted, or anybody could have predicted, really. And so we're really focused on that right now, and just making sure that every single customer who has spent their hard-earned dollars with us is satisfied and gets the products that they're so excited for. And that's where our energy is right now.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Being able to not sit around and like, okay, well, when that like works out, like then
Yeah.
we'll move forward, because obviously, for anybody watching this, it doesn't happen overnight. And I
No.
mean, you guys did this in September, and now it's May, well, almost June, and the due diligence hasn't wrapped up yet. So you can't just sit around and wait. I think there was the interview I did uh with with Hans from Tentacle. He talked about that, like like literally as soon as he got back to his house, or his
Yeah.
trailer, actually. He was sending all the documents, like everything, like here's everything you could possibly need, and they were like, whoa, we're not used to that.
I think it's different for every, I think the experience is different for every company. And obviously we can't talk too much about what that process is, but it is very different. And I think for us, we try every step of the way, honestly, to um, get as much information as we can, be as thorough as we can, as responsive and communicative as we can. And we wait till the next thing is asked of us, and we do it again and do it again. Since the show aired, right now, all of our energy has to be on, we let the legal do what the legal needs to do, but our energy right now is making sure that we fill every single order from that show,
Yeah, yeah.
because
There's nothing worse than
been a lot.
unhappy customers.
And
At a
we
time
have
where
the
you're
best.
getting a lot of,
We're on a 14 to
pressure.
18 week back order timeline.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
people are getting in line daily still. And then they're getting their socks, and then they're getting back in line to wait for 18 weeks. I mean, it has been, yeah, we're not in a position to, stop and do anything but make sure customers are completely happy and satisfied. It was so beyond what we could have imagined. And a lot of people, they think, oh, you're going on Shark Tank. What were you thinking? You should have been more prepared for inventory.
We get that a lot.
We have been advised. So one, as you know, 3 weeks to if you're going to air, you can't build up inventory expecting to air, because that's just not smart business. But two, we were advised on how much an average company, that they expected that we would probably sell for the week after airing on average. We did that, and we were prepared with that amount times about 2.5. So we felt really good about our volume, where we were with our stock. And we did that amount in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
wow.
So when we say our life changed, we're not kidding.
Yeah.
It really changed.
And we are, it's a 2.5 person team. We have my sister, who's part-time customer service in Idaho. It was, and we didn't actually finish watching the entire show, because at the commercial break, I look over at my computer and the entire East Coast is lit up. We have, an insane amount of people on our website, and the website chat was going boom, 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 boom. I mean, hundreds of chats. So I yell at my husband, like, give me my phone, because we were recording, so we could enjoy watching it. My in-laws were there with us, and they put the kids to bed, and I yell at my husband, like, go get your laptop. I'm going to tell you what to type. And I'm calling Bree, like, Bree, get on right now. This is insane. It was, I didn't even watch after the commercial break what happened, the airing. And we were up until 4 or 5 in the morning to where we finally just had to shut our computers down. And
slept for a few hours and got
Yeah.
up and did it again.
Yeah.
And we did that.
I actually called one of my friends and her husband and also said, get over here with laptops. Because, and I was directing this, 3 people of what to say just so we could service everybody and make sure we could get as many customers served that night, and make sure that, they knew what was happening as it unfolded. So yeah, it was really exciting. There is not 1 ounce of it that we would ever say, like, there is not 1 excuse. There is not 1 complaint. We are so grateful for it. And we are just doing our best to, we haven't slept in a month and a half.
We're running on
because we are going to, that's just, there is no quit in us, and we will rise to meet the challenge. But honestly, I think that the biggest thing out of this entire experience, there's definitely mean people. There's been people that they just come at you assuming, the worst, that, you're scammers, or, they're angry because they think they have to, and they don't realize they're talking to real people that really care to help them. But overwhelming majority of people have been so kind, so patient, so understanding, and just cheering us on, saying, you go girls, and thank you for staying made in the USA. And, we just are so excited to try this. We're willing to wait, and just, it's just been, that is what every day when you get the mean people, we get those other people that kind of lift those wings back up of, like, we're doing this for the right reason.
Yeah, it's been overall, it's been a really beautiful experience, and to just meet and get to talk to, because we're returning every voicemail, every text message, every email, every live chat. Like, we are the ones that are these people are talking to, and to get to talk to all these people that watched that night, and fell in love with our product, and really are supporting and cheering us on as people that we've never even met from all over the world at this point. It's been such a beautiful experience, and we're so grateful.
Well, that is awesome. So I take it that you didn't have a watch party?
We didn't have a watch party. It was another thing. We talked a lot about it because we have a lot of families and friends that supported our journey, and we really wanted to share that with people. But at the same time, like Casey said, we're a 2.5 person team, and it was really important. You saw the product that we have. It's there's a lot to it. There's a lot of information about it, and we're an online company. Not every foot is the same. So when you go to our website, we want to make sure our customers are getting their questions answered. It's our first impression. We get 1 shot to make a good first impression on this whole new audience of people that saw us on the show. And so we really wanted to make sure that their customer experience the night of was top notch, and we could celebrate later. So we celebrated with some close family and friends at both of our houses. Casey didn't even watch the whole episode. My phone fell into the couch. I was gripping onto my husband for dear life, with my face like buried in his shoulder, like just hugging him for dear life. And he's like, who's calling you? Who's calling you? Well, doesn't everyone know that you're on the show right now? Like, what the heck? And we picked up the phone after it was over, and it was the sales, like all the dings on our website and our chat, they were going bonkers. It wasn't people trying to call, it was our sales. And I looked at the phone and just started bawling, and kissed my parents and said thank you to my parents for their support. Obviously kissed my husband, ran upstairs crying, opened the computer, and Casey's like, get on the computer. Like, this is not a drill. And
this is it. No time to cry, Brie. We'll cry later.
Yeah, my husband was, and I am not the crier. She's the crier. I'm not the crier. So my husband has video of coming in and listening to the website dings and watching me just for 3 hours. I think this went on, crying my face off, typing, responding to customers, because just the gratitude, like if that's the one thing I could say to anybody out there who has supported us in any way, what it meant, to know, again, to know that we have a good product and to have worked so hard to get through this process, which was incredibly stressful. Navigating the pandemic the way that we did, there's just been no break. It's always just us been hustling to get to the next place. And to have people respond in this way was, not only was it a relief, like we're gonna be okay, we're gonna make it, and this, every sacrifice we made, every sacrifice our husbands and kids have made is worth it. Like, this is the moment. But it's just, I don't know if people know really what that did for us that night and the way things turned around for us that night. And I just, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because it really did change our life immeasurably. And I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the hustle, the struggle, the journey, and everything that we put into that moment. It changed our life.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I going back for a moment to you, Casey. So the mean people, right? Like, let's talk about that for a second, right? Because like, here on the channel, I get my fair share of mean comments.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I do. I very much do.
I bet.
And it's,
People are so brave on behind a screen. Very, very brave.
yeah, it's fine. I always, my comeback is always, I appreciate you watching and commenting.
I have seen you do that, and I think it's brilliant.
Oh, that's right, because we're friends on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I think there's a lot. I mean, I've had people turn their whole, like, oh, I didn't think you'd actually read this. Like,
Yeah.
you're, and because it comes back to people, we are. And that's one of the reasons why I know, I've gotten a couple comments over the last year and a half of like, oh, you seem like you're so soft on all the entrepreneurs, and you're never like, really like, you're not harsh on them. And I'm like, well, first off, they're real people. Like this,
Yeah.
you didn't sign up to be on like the Jerry Springer show where you're playing a fictional person with a fictional situation.
Yeah.
You're a real person,
Real
and
lives.
yeah, like it's your real business, it's your real livelihood, and it's a real opportunity to have that, opportunity to be on TV, and to have a business. And sometimes people only get one idea, right? Like, they don't necessarily get
Yeah.
multiples of ideas. We can't all be Elon Musk with multi-billion dollar
Right.
companies in our, in our back pocket, or in our past. So I think I think it's hard, like, when you get those people that are, have negative reviews. Like, I always say, like, respond to every review, especially the negative reviews, right? Like, because it's not going to change it's probably not going to change their mind, but it might change the mind of somebody else that doesn't click that was helpful because it was a terrible review, kind of situation. And I think, by, I always come out, like I said, coming from an appreciation standpoint, because I want to disarm people, and there's not much they can say back other than, oh crap, I didn't know you were going to read this, and now
I didn't know you were going to be so
bad.
nice about it. Yeah.
But now you could be a real fan. Now you could be a real customer, right? Those people that are that mean about it, they're not your customers. They're not the people that are in your corner that are like, okay, maybe there was a problem with the stock, but they took care of it, right? That the bag came ripped, or whatever. I mean, you see all kinds of crazy stuff on Amazon. When it
Well, and
comes
I
to,
think it's a great lesson for anybody out there, as just a human, as being a human being, is I don't even mind. We don't even mind the negative or constructive criticism. We're open to that. It makes us better. It makes us stronger to get those things, right? It's just, there's a way to do it where you don't have to go attack somebody. There's so much information you don't know. So before you go in hot, like, just go, hey, just a suggestion. Like, we've had so many people come to us like that, and we're so appreciative. Thank you so much for that. We're going to add that to our list. We're going to look into it. We're going to, or, hey, it's because of this, but maybe we can do this in a little while. Or, I'm so sorry, you're going to get a free pair because that's not supposed to happen. Like, very simple, to just reach out with kindness and give somebody a chance, give somebody an opportunity to give you that perspective before you jump all over them. And I think that's the biggest lesson for me, making for others going forward is just making sure I don't ever lose my cool like that or lose my patience with somebody, because it really makes a difference in how you approach, and it just doesn't need to be that negative ever, really.
Yeah. And people that give us the chance to first, respond. But I think we had a lot of great experience. Like we that's our mantra is respond to everyone. We've been growing our social media this last year a lot. And in the same thing, like we were making TikToks and stuff. So every single comment, no matter what they said, we responded. So we did have experience with that. I think that the harder thing is I feel everything and energies affect me. And so I think the hardest thing is just continuing, with the volume of what happened. It was like a year's worth of energy and comments and emails coming at you all in this dense space.
Normally it's spaced out a little bit, right? We're like, we can take that.
So it was just the volume of everything that I think affected us it wouldn't normally hit you in that way. So it was an interesting mix of volume of just seeing everything. And it's just been such an interesting experience.
Plus being tired, we're tired
and working, on very little sleep because we don't want anyone to feel like they weren't replied to. We don't want anyone to feel like we ignored them. And we want everyone to know that they can trust us with their purchase.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Look, as a guy who grew up with his heart on his sleeve, I understand. And I will tell you that the last 2 years of doing this channel has changed my life. It's changed my life because I used to take all that kind of stuff to heart, as somebody that's created content going back to 1996 as a 10-year-old boy writing about video games in a blog. Like I take things to heart, but I have very much learned that it's about the act, we can only control the actions, and it's easy to say. And sometimes, it doesn't mean we don't get upset or mad for, maybe a minute or something like that. But I think, to me, for taking in as much positive and negative in such a short period of time, I've learned to like kind of smooth it out and be like, I'm not for everybody,
dude.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we're getting Casey's not crying as much, and I have restrained the Italian in me. There's sometimes that I want to unleash the Italian, and Casey has to remind me that I can't do that. So between both of us, we're balancing.
We really do. And honestly, it is because we care. Like we don't run this business, for like, this is not like, it's not driven by profit in the sense of like, we really care. We're doing something that we know helps people. I mean, I can't tell you, like, we started this because it comes from a place of passion of, our own personal injuries, or seeing, my mom was a studio owner for 41 years as, a single mom. She like dance was her livelihood. And the first time I put a prototype on her foot, she started to cry, and she said, Casey, where have these been all my life? Like this would have changed my life. And that's what we see on a regular basis, is that people have to be on their feet. And so many people are suffering, and we have a product that really helps. And so we're not just like, I would never put my heart and soul into something that was just driven by how much money can we make. Like we're really doing this because we care, and we want to do something and put something out into the world that helps people. And it's just, I think that's, you have to, business mind, there's business, there's people, everybody has an opinion. What's that saying? Everybody, but we absolutely understand that. It's not to say that, we're some, softies or anything like that. But yeah, I think that's been the most surprising challenge for me coming out of this was just seeing all the different energy that was thrown at us, both positive and negative. And my stabilizer has been actually to watch our returns.
Yeah.
Because our returns have always told us, how people feel about our products and our reviews. And to see our return rate stay so strong as it has even before this has been what gets us through. Like, yep, like you said, we're not for you, but we are
Yeah.
for the majority of the people, and that's what we keep pushing for.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up my good friend Samantha Riley. She owned a studio, dance studio in Australia for I want to say close to 20 years.
Nice.
She was all about that life for a long time there,
And she gets it.
and yeah, she does the Business Geeks podcast here on the channel. So if you haven't watched
Oh,
any of those episodes, totally come and watch me. It's Jennifer Crawford and Samantha Riley, and it's just a lot. We
Awesome.
have a lot of fun talking about business. But yeah, I look, I think that's it, right? I think that's you got to find the solace in the people that do get it, and know that, like, hey, like, you're not for everybody, and it's easy for people to be mean or really crappy to you because they don't they had a bad idea, that bad thing. That's where the whole appreciation thing goes from for me, because it's like maybe they've never had anybody tell them that they appreciate them. I genuinely do appreciate them watching. They gave
yeah,
0.001% ad revenue to me, so
Yep.
hooray.
Yep.
It's important that they know that somebody cares regardless if they're not going to,
Yep.
and I think being driven by purpose is, the whole profit thing. Like, obviously businesses need profit.
yeah,
That's the reality of a business. This isn't a nonprofit, but
yeah,
being driven personally by the social responsibility and the community and helping people. I think that as long as that's like the guiding light, that's it. And I think people also get, they tend to forget, like, in a world full of corporations that are nameless, faceless, generally you don't know who the CEO is, or you never heard his or her name ever, like, or maybe once read it in an article, with very few exceptions, right? Like, Apple being one of them, Tesla, and with Elon, and some people still would think Bill Gates, but Bill Gates isn't the found, he's the founder of Microsoft, but you know what I mean? Like, when you don't have that that figurehead, that's a public figurehead, it just becomes like this world of, like, oh, it's just, a bunch of people that just don't really care. They're all just there for a paycheck anyway. So
That's been
why
the
should I have to
biggest
be
thing.
nice?
I think in this Amazon culture that we have created is people get used to things being faceless, like you said, and they're very surprised, pleasantly surprised most of the time when they're getting a call. They'll recognize our voice from the show or our name, or they'll see our email that, oh my gosh, these are the co-founders that are emailing me back. Thank you. This is and they start realizing really fast that yes, this matters to us. We say it matters, and it really does matter. And it really, the purpose, like you both have so eloquently said now, is what keeps us grounded, and rooted in who we are as a business and as people. And I think that that's something that I don't think that we're ever going to forget.
It's funny you mentioned Amazon, because I feel like that's one of, and because Amazon has all the, small businesses that sell through Amazon, but I feel
Mm,
like Jeff Bezos isn't that figurehead. Like, nobody's like, the buck stops with Jeff Bezos, because, like,
no.
I can tell you from personal experience, it definitely does not. They waste a whack ton of money, and they've wasted some of that with us, all of their own regard, like disregard, I guess I should say. So, the buck doesn't when the buck doesn't stop somewhere, it creates a problem
Yeah.
for people to have that impression. And but no, I think what you ladies are doing is awesome. I think how you're doing it is awesome. I'm so honored that you chose to come here on the channel today. Before we wrap up, what's the future look like? What's the trajectory here?
we're gonna get through. We're excited to be through all of these. The back orders that we have, we're going to be getting these out in the next 4 to 5 weeks. We're really excited about that. We're going to be headed back to dance season and the holidays, fully stocked and ready to go again, back to a stable place. And we've increased our production. So we're really pumped about that. We have some new products in the works. I know we've talked to a lot of our customers about our knee high that we've been really anxious to get out. And XXL for all the new larger feet that we have met from the show that we'll be developing. And then we have tons of other things that are going to be in the works as soon as we have some free machines. So we're going to keep growing and moving and grooving, and whatever the universe brings our way, we're going to be ready.
We have a big dream with this company. Like, we are not stopping at just socks, and we have a lot of ideas, and we will continue to create products that people can trust are going to work for them to help them do what they love longer and stronger. And so we have much more to come in the future. And this is really just the first. It feels like it's a new beginning, but
it feels like the beginning of a very new chapter in the story.
We have a lot more coming.
I love it. I love it. So tell everyone where they can go and get their, well, I guess, depending on when you're watching this, socks or pre-orders for socks.
Yes, you can purchase at apollaperformance.com. We're Apolla Performance on all the social media platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, APOLLA. Don't let your phone autocorrect. Oh, it's Apolla Performance. You can email us info@apollaperformance.com. You can call or text us at 817-203-4093. You can live chat us on our website, DM us on any of our social profiles, and chances are you're going to speak to one of us. So we hope to hear from you.
I love it. Thank you both so much for taking the time to be here today. I really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate you giving us a platform to chat and taking an interest in who we are and our business. It really means a lot.
Oh, well, I love business. I could talk it every day, all day. So for me, it's just awesome to get to talk to people about this. It's just part of who I am. So
love your energy, Joe. Keep it up. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching all the way to the end here. I'll see you in one of these. If you haven't watched their video yet, I'll see you in one of these two videos. I'll link it one of these over here. Take care and go be super.